Jussie Smollett from Empire was the victim of a brutal, heinous hate crime in Chicago early Tuesday morning.
Investigators say it all started when two individuals yelled out racial and homophobic slurs. They began to beat him up.
Again! You fucking idiot! For those of you that can recall, I know 5 years is a long time ago, but if you can, please reach back in the recesses of your mind and recall the year 2019. January 2019, Jussie Smollett from Empire, right? That's where he blew up. That's where he got his name. That's where he made his name. That's where he made his career, his acting career. That's what he's most known for. Jussie Smollett, back in 2019, said that he went out to get a bite to eat. It was late. He said that he went out, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he was attacked. He was brutally and viciously attacked, and he said that his attackers, said there was two of them, he said his two attackers yelled racial slurs while kicking him in the back and beating his ass. And then, before they left him there in the snow in Chicago, the bottom of some stairs, they put a rope around his neck. Don't believe me? It's okay. If you don't remember, it's okay. I got the footage right here.
I'm Robin Roberts in New York. Musician and actor Jussie Smollett sat down with me for his first interview since that night in Chicago. Smollett told me how he's doing now and responds to those who doubt his account.
I'm pissed off.
What is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks. It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Mm-hmm. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. And then it became a thing of like, oh, it's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth.
Yes, it was. It was necessarily that we didn't believe you. You needed more people. But let's continue with what he had to say.
You don't even want to see the truth.
What happened that night, Jussie?
When I landed in Chicago, and Frank Gatson, who's like my uncle, and he's also my creative director, and he picked me up. And then we got back to the apartment. There was no food. And so I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke. Walgreens was closed. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm gonna get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in Australia because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. Mm-hmm. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately. And while he was on the phone, I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire.
Sorry.
And I didn't
That's
answer.
Never not
I kept
funny.
walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, the did you just say to me? And I see the attacker masked, and he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back.
Of course.
And then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy.
Tussling.
And we ended up tussling by the stairs. Fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back. And then it just stopped. And they ran off. And I saw where they ran. And the phone was in my pocket, but it had fallen out. And it was sitting there. And my manager was still on the phone. So I picked up the phone and I said, Brandon. And he's like, what's going on? And I said, I was just jumped. And then I looked down and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No, because it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
How long did this all
It felt like minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds, honestly.
She's so slick with that. You didn't notice? You didn't notice the rope before? No, of course this nigga didn't notice because there was never a rope involved. Hey, the same people that believe Jussie Smollett are the same idiots that be showing up in my comments that be crashing out for the people that they love, for all these people that they love in media. But getting back to the interview, so he said all of this happened in seconds. In seconds, he got his ass beat, right? They yelled Empire, and then they left him with a rope around his neck. I guess that was supposed to symbolize a noose. That's what he said. All right, so this interview was pretty lengthy. We're definitely not playing the rest of it. Y'all get the gist of what happened. By now, I'm sure that you have been reminded of how stupid Jussie Smollett was. Because not only did he lie to the entire world and to every media source that would have him, not only did he lie, but he also jeopardized his career with this lie. And he subsequently ended up being fired and written out of the show and did not appear for the last season. So not only did you fuck yourself legally, right, but then you fuck yourself financially. Because now we can't be a part of this. You just named us on national TV, Empire. You just put our name in your lie. You associated your entire cast and crew with the lie. But he didn't realize that because Jussie's not too smart. So it came out and it was exposed that he lied about the entire thing. What happened? Well, you got to go to jail now because you can't get up here and lie in syndication like this on a major platform for every publication, news publication that's out here, and then think that you can just get to go home at the end of the day and lay on your little soft pillow. No, 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 no. You don't just get to go back to making episodes on Empire. No, 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 no. That's not how this works. Not at this level. Not for you. Your name is way too big and you've done way too much. You're way too noticeable. You can't just go home. So what happened? Well, an outpouring of support came. At first, before they found out that he was lying, you had celebrities coming out of everywhere supporting him. I remember T.I. came out and supported him. Viola Davis, who is very notable and reputable in Hollywood. Now you got her name mixed up in this bullshit, right? His sister came out, Jussie Smollett, who y'all may remember from here. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Right here. I got it right here. Who I'm pretty sure to a lot of you, she is very recognizable. She's been on shows like Lovecraft Country, right? Eased by You, Tyler Perry's Temptation. She's been in a lot of things. Right? So you got her wrapped up in it as well. So you got your sister caught up in it. You got all these celebrities and other people of notoriety taking up for you. Everybody's on your side because they were like, man, this is crazy. But then it comes out that you lied about the entire thing. So what happens? He goes to court. Court finds him guilty. He's going to jail. He's going to jail. And remember, Jussie didn't want to turn over his phone. That was the first thing that let me know that this nigga was lying. When they asked him for his phone to help corroborate his story, he didn't want to give it to him. I want to give you my phone because I know I'm a lying piece of shit. And I know you're going to find out the truth. I know you're going to find out that I was never over there where I said I was. I don't even know if he ever went to Subway and got the salad. It should have been salad all over the fucking ground. It should have been salad all over the ground. I don't even remember if they even said that he actually ever went to Subway or not. But now you done included Subway in your story. We got enough to worry about over here at Subway. We still trying to recover from Jared. Now we got to worry about Jussie. All right. So Juicy gets out here and he says, guess what? I'm tripling down. I'm not doubling down. I am tripling down on the story. Man. Instead of just taking the L and doing the time, Jussie has tripled down on it. Let's watch.
I can tell you're fighting, trying not to get emotional. I can see your bottom lip.
I am, because people just don't know me.
Yeah.
I want to adopt a kid, you know, like I want to have all of these things in my life, and I don't want to have a felony on my record for something that I didn't do. You know, so that's what we're fighting for. It's like it's much. I know that on the surface it probably seems like, why doesn't he just serve the time? Why doesn't he just let this go? It would be easier if I had in fact done this. To say that I did it, I wouldn't have spent almost $3 million of my own money. I would not have had a trial.
And you know, there are probably a lot of people out there who say that, like, why doesn't he just take this and go and move on with his life?
Because as an entertainer, as a businessman, I probably should. But as a human being, and as a man, as a black man, and as an openly gay black man, I have a problem with letting them win on something that they shouldn't be able to.
I can tell you're fine.
What does being gay have to do with you fighting for justice? I don't understand. I don't understand why it was necessary to even bring that up in a conversation, in an interview where you're being interviewed about whether or not you was telling a lie about two men attacking you. What was the point of you saying, as a gay black man, I got a problem with them saying, like, regular black men don't have a problem with people lying on them? What was the point? But anyway, listen. So he's tripling down on it. Jussie is tripling down on the lie. He still believes that he is innocent somehow. There is a mental imbalance. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Carly Russell. Except Carly did come to the light. Eventually, Carly copped a plea to everything, and she just came on out. She did it. She accepted her penalty. She accepted the crime, right? She accepted whatever the jury had to say, and she accepted the judgment and took her penalty on the chin. Jussie is fighting this tooth and nail until he is behind bars. To this day, he is still trying to convince the world that he is innocent. But we already know what happened. You paid two men. Jussie paid two men to corroborate his story and act like they attacked him so that he could go on this press run for what? I guess because he had a problem with Trump. And y'all the same ones in the comments. The people that believe him be the same one in the comments saying, free Jussie. Free him. Free Jussie. But I went ahead and looked up some more information on this because I wanted to know, one of the things I wanted to know, because I had forgotten all about this until this popped up. I had forgotten all about Jussie. But when it popped up, it kind of reminded me, and then I thought to myself, my second thought after that was, wait, why isn't this nigga in jail? Why is he walking around? Why is he walking around like me? With his freedom intact? Why isn't he in jail? So it made me go and research more about what's happening, and this is what I found.
With me, Bernardo Villalona, Misty Maris, Brian Enton. Bernardo, I'll start with you. Should we take anything from the fact that the court has agreed to hear this, that they are sympathetic to that argument?
No, not at all. They're going to entertain the argument, but it's not saying that they're going to rule in his favor at all. In terms of a prosecutor making an offer to a defendant, whatever deal that they engage in, hey, that's simple for the purview of the prosecutor and defense attorneys. Courts are not going to get involved in that. So I think it's going to remain his sentence, and Jussie's going to have to do his time.
Okay, well, let's talk about that deal for a second. This was Special Prosecutor Dan Webb took over the case. It's like a myriad of back and forth with everything going on with this thing. But he was very critical of that deal. This is number 2.
Judge Truman, when he appointed me, said the reason he was appointing me was to restore the public's confidence in the judicial system. He said that because at that point it appeared like we had two different systems of justice. One for the ordinary person and the other for more privileged people like Mr. Smollett.
Yeah, now we remember that he had charges. They were dropped. They were refiled. Look, I keep thinking, every time I'm thinking a government entered into a deal with the defendant, I'm thinking Cosby, right? I'm thinking, is this possible? What do you think?
It's not impossible. So what happened here is the special prosecutor was brought in to see if there was an abuse of discretion and investigate that and further investigate the case. So it's all going to come down to, what did that agreement say between the original district attorney, and was that a non-prosecution agreement? Now, the appellate court has already said no. It's going to be reviewed by now at the highest level court. So this issue has actually failed before. But to your point, Jesse, the highest court is going to take a look at it. So whether or not that constitutes a non-prosecution agreement is the critical legal issue in the case.
And putting the legal to the side, the big picture of this, Brian, you cover crimes all the time, all across the country. The thing that really is so disappointing about this, and the reason that people are angry about this, and why he was ultimately prosecuted, you have real victims out there.
Yeah.
You have real people who are attacked, real people who are kidnapped. It took away from law enforcement. It took away from those victims. Your perspective on when you heard about this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to you guys make the legal arguments, which I get, but just as a regular guy, I remember being so mad during all of that, because it was so infuriating when you thought that it was true for a while. Oh my gosh, he was attacked, racial, homophobia, gosh, all the issues in Chicago, this is just terrible. Everyone was so fired up about it and upset. And then, like you said, the fact that this massive investigation went into finding those people when we all thought it may have been a true story. Like, I'm not over it yet. Like, I have no sympathy for Jussie.
Why'd he do
Smollett.
it? Do we even know why he did it?
Who knows? I mean, look at his outburst in court. I mean, you can't make sense of this guy.
He wasn't being truthful in court? You didn't believe it?
Well, that's the thing, Jesse. He still says that he still stands by that it happened. So he's not really expressed any contrition.
Which brings me to the next point. I'll ask you, Bernardo. This is the point. If this conviction stands, is he going to jail?
Well, yeah, the sentence is going to be upheld. So he is going to go to jail. The amount of time, I believe, what it was, the 150 days, it's not going to be the total 150 days because it's going to be much less. But yeah, it's his time. That's it. The buck stops there. There's no other review. It's over. The Supreme Court is not going to save you.
Wouldn't it have been better, though, if he just went to jail and served, 90 days, came out? Maybe he could have restored his career.
But
his career would never come back.
Exactly.
But I mean, just do the 90 days.
But what he's trying to hope for is that his rehabilitation that he did in some treatment program, that will suffice. That's what he wants. It's not going to happen.
If he would have come out and
apologized.
If he would have came out, apologized, accepted, said, I had a mental health crisis.
Yes.
I am sorry. We would have a totally different conversation. It's the fact that he keeps fighting it is why it's not helping him both on a PR perspective and a legal perspective. We can talk about Jussie Smollett.
I 1,000% agree. If he had came out and been honest, open and honest about it and said, listen, I was on some bullshit. I was going through a mental breakdown at the time. I had a lot on my plate. I was worried about a lot. My career, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. They probably would have taken pity on him, and he probably would have only served 30 to 60 days in jail. But now, because you wanted to go full force and with the lie and drag it out, now you gotta take the penalty. Why? We gotta send a message. We got to send a message to everybody else that want to run off at the mouth and wants to openly lie to the press, the public, the media, the news, and every outlet that hears them. We got to send a message to that person that you can't do this without consequence. Like I said before when I was talking to one of my homies, it's freedom of speech, not freedom of consequence. And we about to get into that video next when we're talking about this entire Jay-Z and Beyonce and Piers Morgan fiasco that's going on, where he brought on Jaguar Wright to sit up there and run her mouth. And we're going to get into that next. But listen, the overall arching point of this is Jussie hasn't learned a goddamn thing. Jussie has learned nothing. For him to still hold on to this lie 5 years later, after it's already been proven that you lied and fabricated the entire thing, the dudes that you paid off have already told on you. And you still here trying to argue your case about whether or not it happened. This is insanity. This is insanity at this point. And now I want you to go to jail just because you playing with everybody. Listen, y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. I'll see y'all in the next one. This is absurd to me, but I cannot wait to see how this plays out in the future. Later.